said let's wait a few minutes, so I think we're good. Hi, everybody.
It's 8:30 on a Friday night.
It's 8:30 on a Friday night, and we're not wearing sunglasses.
That's right. Let's go.
Thank you all for coming. My name is Chris Rickert. I'm the owner of LJ's Books right down the road in Dormont. In a couple weeks, if you come visit me, my bookstore will have a different name, but it will still be my bookstore, so don't be afraid. This is Eric Lowther. He is the author of Area 187, Almost Hell. And this is Nelson Pyles, the author of several things, including Demons, Dolls, and Milkshakes, his latest release. So, Eric, take it away. Tell us a little about your book.
First?
You first.
Okay, well, this one in particular, I've been a horror fan all my life, zombie aficionado, et cetera, and this actually started from seeing so many movies, reading so many books, and just like going, okay, well, you're watching The Survivors, you're watching this, you're reading about them. When the book ends, when the movie's over, you know they're still going to die. But at some point along the way, pretty shortly after that, they're going to die. If they don't die in the book, they're going to die shortly after. So instead of joining the zombie apocalypse at the start of it, like so many do, or you start off with the whole world going to hell and everything's falling apart. I was like, well, what would happen if you kind of paused it? What would happen if you kind of stopped it? And I do get some knocks for the government conspiracy things in it, but I basically took it from a lot of experiences and from 9/11 and things like that, where we as a nation tend to just kind of look the other way. In 9/11, when that happened for the first year, country songs are flying and flags are going and people are going nuts and people are donating all these various causes. Year 2, okay, yeah, we're still donating, but it's a little less. By year 3, we're like, who's on American Idol? It kind of went away. Well, my thought was, nobody really wants to take responsibility for the zombies, for the uprising, for what happened. And by the time that people start sorting these things out, it's spreading, it's happening. The idea behind that is, well, let's put up a temporary wall, let's wall this area in, let's stop them where they are now, and then we can deal with them after we get it all sorted out. Let's just segregate this area. Well, like the American public, nobody in government wants to take responsibility, and it just goes on and on for years. Defenses get built up. So now you have a large section of the state of West Virginia, parts of Virginia, Pennsylvania, that are basically its own little walled off land. And of course, if you're a government and you've been messing around with weapons of mass destruction, biological weapons, you really don't want to let that kind of stuff out. Well, that's where it started, so everyone knows there's going to be evidence in there of what happened. So walling everything off is twofold. It keeps people away from, and then you have to deal with the survivors. Well, then you do a half-assed job of getting people out and then declare to the United States, hey, we got everybody, there's nobody left, they're either dead or they're out. Well, in a landmass that size, that's not going to happen. So my book deals with 7 years after. The area is still there, it's Area 187 now. Homeland Security controls it. There are still survivors in it, but of course there's news blackouts. It's basically become the thing nobody wants to talk about. It's there, it's the gorilla in the room, but there are still people in there. And then you have a cottage industry that springs up of privateers who can slip inside the area and out to go and retrieve things, or still a lot of valuables left, a lot of different things happening in there. And you also have the survivors in there. Nobody wants them to the government doesn't want them to get out. So they're pretty much stuck. They either survive with what they are, or they're going to get killed. If they try to escape it, nobody's going to know. So that I kind of wanted to see what happens when the whole world didn't go to shit, and the survivors who are still stuck in there know that there's a better life just over that wall. They just can't get to it. In most zombie work, that's it. The whole world's gone. There's nothing else to look forward to. In this, the people who are still stuck in there know there's another world right outside, and they just can't get to it. So that's the basis.
Do you have a little bit that you can read for us?
I really hadn't prepared anything, actually.
I'd just like to see how you
what I will do though, I had asked somebody to tell me what the panel was going to be about, but response. It almost never happens. Yes. Well, what I will do though is the back cover blurb. This is actually written as if from a survivor inside of Area 187, and it's a note that he had on him when he tried to make a break for it to try to escape. And of It's not the zombies. Yeah, they'll kill you, eat you, maybe make you one of them. Not diggers, but they're just as likely to kill you and eat you too. They won't kill you just for trying to come back to the world. Not other survivors, though some will kill you for your boots. Yeah, probably eat you too. If the dead diggers or somebody else tags you, they've got a reason. They're honest about it, they use your carcass. No, the enemy is the fence, the mines, the gunships, the wall. They kill you just for breathing. They're the ones who keep us from our families, our lives, the world. They call this place Area 187 now. Guess it's easier to kill us when we're just a number. I'm not a number, I'm a man. If you're reading this, that means they got me at the wall. Hell, you're probably the one that pulled the trigger. Just remember, you killed a man, not a number. You killed a man that was just trying to come home, just so they could keep their secrets. Found in the body of a suspected grave robber, Northgate, Area 187. So really, the enemy isn't the zombies. It's the government, it's the walls, it's America's willingness to just let shit go. Let's just not think about it again.
And you're also working on some other stories in this world, right?
Oh yeah, I've actually started another book for this, to this one, and there are a couple of short stories. I was to have a short story collection available at this particular con, and timing just didn't work out. But there's a called The Dead Tell Tales, so keep an eye out for it. There are 2 stories in that are related to this area. One is a look back into the past, which would be in that first 7 years, and the other one is a look ahead for the prologue for the next book. And the other stories in it are other zombie stories, just not related to this particular work. So yeah, I've been working on this and a few other projects as well. So.
And I know we're giving a copy away tonight at the end of the panel. Do you have copies to sell this weekend?
Not with me, no.
So where can people buy?
Well, you can go to Amazon, of course. That's where everyone goes. You can get the paper, the paperback, or I guess you can't really call them a hardback anymore, or you can get the Kindle version. It may seem a little pricey, but it is 230,000 words. So for $4.99, that's not too bad of a deal. The actual hardcover, or let me tell I'm old. This version is available for, I believe, $24.99.
I think that's right.
I think it's $24.99 now. It keeps fluctuating. Amazon keeps playing with the numbers. But it's been out for almost 3 years now, and its sales are still strong. It's got over 212 reviews on it, so check out Amazon, read the reviews for yourself. Don't take my word for it. Check it out.
And I also have a few signed copies down at LJ's Books. If you stop in there, I've got a couple of signed.
I've also got my website, ericarlowther.com, and I've also got a blogger under the same name. There's about 25 free short fiction and novellas on there, free for the reading. They're not zombie related, however. That's different horror fiction, speculative fiction. So if you had me cruising around one night and kind of bored, hop on by, read some free fiction. There's about another 250,000 words worth of fiction on there for free. You can read, so.
Thank you. Nelson, want to talk about your book?
No.
Want to talk about something else?
Do you have a recipe for red velvet cake?
Yes, I do.
Good.
But my pasta sauce is better. This is my first novel. I'm mostly been published doing short work. And this is a novel that's actually been not sitting around. It's taken a while to get it finished, because if you've ever tried to do anything with small children running around, it adds a couple of years to the timetable. Tying your shoe with a 2-year-old running amok could be all day. So it's been an on-off kind of thing, and I've actually worked myself into a schedule where I could actually pump out a little faster. But this is my first novel, Demons, Dolls, and Milkshakes. The creepy-looking doll on the cover is one of 2 main characters in the story. His name is Stitch, and Stitch is a demon named Belial. There's a whole little mythology. Like, Belial is a very famous demon. The mythology in my book is that all the actual demon names, with the exception of one, all got bastardized and mispronounced and spread throughout the world, and they really hate that. Except for Lilith, who got to keep her name. He is conjured into this doll by a 16-year-old kid who's been bullied constantly as he's going through high school in New Jersey, of all places. And the story is Stitch's quest to get out of the 6-inch little doll. And where the story picks up, well, I'll read the back cover of my book. After years of watching horror movies, Kat Doherty has learned one true thing about the supernatural. Demons are dicks. And the biggest dick of them all just showed up at her house, trapped inside an ugly 6-inch doll. If there's one thing that will piss off an unemployed, unhappy chain smoker more than anything, it's a 6-inch dick running amok in her house. Can Kat hold herself together to get through a day filled with demons, death, violence, and extreme terror? Only if there's a milkshake waiting for her at the end of it. Maybe. Now the book picks up, it's kind of arranged like a Tarantino film. It starts in the middle, goes back to the beginning, and then rides out the end once you have all the pieces in place for it. And the main heroine is Kat. And Kat's an unemployed chain smoker. She loves horror movies. She has a house that she inherited in Shadyside. And she goes to her friend's video store on the eve of a large blizzard that's about to hit Pittsburgh. And the doll just kind of hops in the bag. She thinks it's, she has no idea where the doll came from. It was sitting in a bargain bin. And it just kind of follows her home. She gives it a cute name. She calls it Pookie. And she's ready to sit down and watch really bad old horror movies until the doll just starts talking to her. And the doll tells her his story of how he became trapped. And Kat has a really interesting personality trait that if there's this little creepy doll that started talking to you, you'd scream and throw it out of the window or something. Well, she freaks out and then she gets over it, and then she starts dealing with it as an actual non-supernatural problem, which manages to unnerve everyone involved in the story, including the demon. It's like, shouldn't you be running around screaming or something? She's like, no, I'm good. And if you like, I will read a small passage from the story. Now, one very small amount of trivia. I'll try not to. There is a secondary character named Bruce in the story, and Bruce is very loosely based on a local. I don't know if you'd call him a hero, but he's a really cool guy. His name is Bruce Lentz, and he used to run this really great store called Incredibly Strange Video. And my Bruce is loosely based on Bruce. I met Bruce one time, and that was enough to leave, and not enough of an impression to base a character in the book on him. And Bruce runs a place called Bruce's Bruce's Comics Empire. It's comics with an X because he's trying to be cool and hip. And he's decidedly not, but that will not stop Bruce. And Bruce has his first run-in with a demon that's looking for the doll that Kat picked up earlier that day. Bruce had decided not to watch it snow all morning while doing his inventory. As much as he hated inventory, it was a good way to see movies he hadn't seen in ages, which of course interrupted his inventory as he pulled a DVD from the shelf to watch in the store. He laughed the laugh of the lazy. He was nearly all the way through the movie when he looked out of the store window. He blinked several times as he saw quite possibly the most attractive woman he'd ever seen walk in front of the store. She had deep red curly hair that was flowing over everything, it seemed. She wasn't bundled up in Pittsburgh winter wear either. It looked like leather. His heart skipped and then sank. There was no way she was coming into the store. As was typical for Bruce, he talked to the girl as she walked past the window. "That's it, just keep walking. Nothing but heartache in here for you, baby." Bruce chuckled as he watched the girl walk past the door. He shook his head and looked back at the movie. Thoughts of the girl vanished as the movie took its hold on him again. He thought, as big as this guy's sword was, he should have maybe a little bit more trouble swinging it around like that. The bell to his door jingled. He didn't bother to look up. "You have until the end of this movie to look around, and then I'm closing up shop. 10 minutes or so, okay?" "Then maybe you should tell me where all the heartache is." Bruce swallowed hard. His head darted to the direction of the voice, and there she was, standing right in front of the counter. Excuse me. All that red hair and leather. Her eyes were so green as to nearly be cliche, but it still worked. To Bruce, she was flawless, and she was tall. "Well," Bruce said, trying to think of something clever, What can I interest you in, Red?" He leaned casually on the counter. Oh, don't worry, she said. I'm already interested. If I see something I want, I'll let you know. Bruce melted. He thought for a fleeting moment that he was asleep, but he wasn't. This was turning into a very good day. He looked out of the window to see the snow still coming down in huge chunks. Maybe, he thought, I could get snowed in here with her for a few days. He smiled. He looked back at the girl. He looked back, and the girl was still in front of the counter, looking at him and smiling. Bruce's heart was pounding hard in his chest. He'd only read about these things happening. Hell, every movie he loved had stuff like this happen. And it looked like, Bruce, you don't have to daydream about me. I'm right here in front of you, the girl said, slowly inching closer. Well, Bruce said absently, almost in a daze. So you are. At the point of where their lips would actually touch, the girl abruptly stopped. Where is it? She said, losing some of the seduction. Huh? The doll. It was here. Where is it? Bruce hadn't even realized he'd closed his eyes, but he had. The girl had backed up and now was looking through the discount bin stuffed full of oddities. He shook his head. Did he miss the kiss? Bruce started to say, but stopped. The vision of womanhood in his store, the future Mrs. Bruce Ballard, was throwing merchandise onto his floor. You're what? She asked, not even looking up at him. I'm wondering why you're fucking up my display, actually, Bruce said, finishing his thought and ruining his buzz. Where was the sexy fun from seconds ago? She whirled around, smile almost gone on her lips. In fact, she looked kind of annoyed. The doll, little ugly thing, pretty hard to miss. Where is it? Bruce had no idea what she was. Wait, he said, the light bulb clicking on his head. Really ugly fucking thing? Button eyes? The girl beamed and dropped the cute puppy with the chainsaw stuffed toy. She sauntered back over to the counter again. Interested again, she cooed. Give it to me, now. Bruce, glad just to have a happy reaction, smiled. Well, baby, I just can't give it to you. I gave it away this morning, but I think I can... He was cut off abruptly as her arm shot out and grabbed his neck, which Bruce thought odd for a brief moment because she was roughly 6 feet away from him. I said, give me the doll. How hard is that? She pushed Bruce against the wall behind the counter. She was still walking toward him, and Bruce's eyes were wide with surprise. He tried to speak, but gurgled instead. The girl rolled her eyes and loosened her grip. Bruce took a gasping breath. What the fuck? What the fuck? What the? Bruce was cut off as the girl tightened her grip again. I let you breathe, and that's what you choose to say? You're so much dumber than I thought, the girl said, disappointed. Now I'm going to let you go again, and this time you tell me where the doll is, okay? There's no need to tell me you're scared because I already know. She sounded less like a sexy thing and more like a mom. Somebody else's total bitch mom. Bless you. Bruce wasn't as scared as he was confused until she said that she knew he was scared. He started to shake but promised himself he would not freak out. She loosened her grip again. He took a deep breath. Okay, he said, trying not to sound scared and really trying not to freak out. Doll isn't here. I gave it to someone this morning. The girl smiled. Much better, she said. Did the doll say anything? Bruce opened his mouth to speak and paused. He thought carefully about what he was going to say. Did you just ask if the doll said anything? The girl smiled, but it wasn't because she was happy. I spoke very clearly. Yes, that's what I said. Bruce shook his head and still wondered if he had heard her correctly. Very well, she said and let go of his neck. Where can I find this person to get my doll? Bruce slumped and grabbed his neck. Jesus, she was strong. He thought about her question and thought about who had the doll. Why do you want the doll? He asked her. Does it matter why I want the doll? She asked, almost snarling. Bruce swallowed. I guess not, but it's a fair question. You wouldn't believe me, and now I'm starting to get a little pissed. Sorry, Bruce said, but you're asking me to tell you where a customer lives, and that's not cool, especially since you nearly took my head off. No offense. He was slowly but surely trying to move away from behind the counter. I could take your head off, she said, and I could eat it and learn everything I need to know and have a snack in the process. She looked at him, and he stopped moving. Or you can make this a whole lot easier. What do you think? You'd eat my head? You need a pretty big mouth, sister, Bruce said, and then his hand shot up and covered his own mouth. He couldn't believe he had just said that, and neither could she. She walked over to the door and flipped the open for business sign